Alexis told police that 3 individuals talking to him through a wall were sent to, quote, harass him. He told police the harassers were using a microwave machine to send vibrations through the ceiling, penetrating his body so he could not speak.
He also told police that he never felt anything like this and felt these individuals would harm him.
Time for the Behavior Bureau. I'm co-host Jenny Hutt, and we're learning more about Aaron Alexis, the gunman who killed 12 people in a shooting rampage at the D.C. Navy Yard. Joining us on the panel, Samantha Shocker, host of Pop Trigger on Young Turks Network, psychologist Judy Ho, psychologist Wendy Walsh, author of 30-Day Love Detox, and criminal investigator Deneen Manette, author of Ultimate Betrayal. Now, Wendy, I'm going to go out to you first. His father has said that he was there on 9/11 and that he's implied that there might be some PTSD from 9/11. And the news media has just grabbed onto this, Wendy, as, oh, this is all PTSD. I've heard nothing about PTSD symptoms. All I've heard is psychotic symptoms. And let's be clear, they can be made worse by having seen something like 9/11, but they don't cause psychosis. Do you agree?
Exactly. I think that he probably had an organic condition, and I think that post-traumatic stress disorder, if he did have it from his 9/11 rescue attempts, probably exacerbated some of his symptomology. And I think that, you know, this reminds me so much, Dr. Drew, of the Arizona shooter, Gabby Giffords shooter, when he had these paranoid episodes. There was some videotape we had played, and he was imagining and hallucinating and having delusions early on. This sounds like a major psychotic illness.
Yes, this is a psychotic illness. We should feel, listen, in that last segment, did you guys hear us, Deneen, talking about you know, alerting law enforcement, alerting people when somebody has a psychotic illness, because we should be taking care of them. They lose their insight when they're in that condition. Why can't we use our judgment and our instincts to help these people and restrict their civil liberties so this guy's dead because of his mental illness?
It's Dr. Drew, can I ask you a quick question? How long before this happened did he first go in and start talking about having heard these voices? Because from what I understand, it didn't seem like it was that long in advance. Do you know?
Well, no, he clearly had a paranoid episode in Seattle in 2004, I think it was, where he was out staring out his window at construction workers for days, clearly having paranoid delusions about them, and then went out unprovoked and shot a car up. Again, thinking that these people were beaming thoughts into his head, sending microwave into his body, whatever it is. This is how delusions work. This is how hallucinations work. This is what psychotic illness is. Judy, a month before, he hears voices. He thinks people are after him. You agree, do you not? Clearly psychotic.
Yes, Dr. Drew, he was clearly psychotic, and he was seeking treatment, right? In August, he was at the Veterans Administration, and they evaluated him and said he was okay, that he wasn't unsafe. Otherwise, they would have revoked his privileges to access the Navy Yard. So,
well, but Judy,
I'm not really sure
I'm going to interrupt you. I'm going to say we don't know really what kind of services he sought, whether or not he really saw sophisticated mental health services, or if he just went in and said, hey, I can't sleep, I need some help. You know, we don't know what that was yet.
Right.
We should know. People can learn from it if we get that information out there. Who's talking to me, Sam?
It's Wendy. Listen, I need to go there. We need to talk a little. We need to talk about guns for a minute, okay? And how we can keep guns out of the hands of these dangerous people who really need our help and care. Is it possible that when somebody goes in for mental health treatment, the first question they ask is, do you own a gun? And can we find ways to get guns out of the hands of mentally ill people who already have them?
Yes.
But they might be able to feel that
situation is, listen. Okay,
Samantha?
our system has failed us because, do I have to hold, or are you letting me go?
No, you go. You talk.
Okay, I have a delay. Okay, all right, listen. Our system has failed us because here's the thing. You're right, Wendy. Here's somebody with severe mental illness, and then you look at his prior charges that was brought against him with unlawfully using a gun, coupled with the fact that he had 8 cases of misconduct.
I'm sorry, you showed up a car, you're not allowed to have a gun anymore.
How is this person able to purchase a gun? We need further
not just purchase a gun,
extensive background checks. We need
But also, right, the background checks and also get clearance through the Navy.
Right.
Deneen, I see you waving at me. You can answer that question as well as whatever comment you want to make. Go ahead, Deneen.
You know what, Dr. Drew? I'm going to say something that's probably not going to win me any points around here.
Wait, hold on a second. I'm so, Deneen, really? You're going to say something controversial? I'm shocked. Go ahead, though.
I'm sorry. You know, there's a difference between someone who goes into a room full of innocent citizens, children, defenseless people who aren't expecting and opens fire, and someone who goes into a military institution where people have guns and are trained to fight. My son's in the military. He tells me all the time, Mom, I'm fine. I've been trained to kill with my bare hands. Someone who goes into that type of a situation and opens fire on these people has an agenda, a vendetta. They have a personal grievance. They're going towards a place of authority for them to go into this military institution and open fire on these people that are armed. Now, I understand that there may be an element of mental illness, but I know that if I was going to kill somebody a month in advance, I would go out and say that I heard voices. I'm sorry. I would plan this out this way. I think he had anger management issues, but I don't know how much of it is mental illness.
I get what Deneen's saying, but we have to look. But I appreciate, Sam, I got to stop everybody because I got to go to break. I'm against the clock here. But I get what you're saying. It's worth us looking at the arc of his history. It looks like it goes back many years, though, that he's been intermittently getting into trouble with intermittent psychosis.
I don't know if it's psychotic.
Anger and it really is psychotic because he's delusional and misinterprets things, gets paranoid. People mistake what he's doing. We'll find out more. I've got the gunman's friend, who's going to tell us whether he believed he was ever capable of this. And later, baby Elena, the missing toddler, found dead and hidden away in the rafters. We have her grandfather. He's here. He's got a lot to say about what happened to this poor The Behavior Bureau, my co-host Jenny Hutt. Jenny.
And for the best in pre-treaters, try OxyClean Max Force. It gets the tough stains out.
You didn't come out of his room much. Like I said, he played a lot of them online games where they were shooting all the time. And we would joke with him about that sometimes because they were like, well, you know, his computer screen was like lifelike. It was big. And it was like, wow, you know, it's like he's shooting people a lot.
Back with the Behavior Bureau, my co-host Jenny Hutt. Jenny, I want to chat with you for 1 second. Pull Jenny and me up here for a second. First, I want to share with you a tweet. This is from Carol. These Twitter handles are amazing. At Carol, FR40163199. She says, it's not about the guns. We do not have enough resources for the mentally ill to receive the care that is needed. And I will tell you that she's got a point about that. That's a very critical point. And the other thing, Jenny, I injected a little levity into our conversation a minute ago, poking at Deneen a little bit. People actually get critical when we so much as smile when we're talking about these serious issues. And look, if we didn't have a little bit of levity, a little bit of lightness to this, these stories are heavy. Give us a break here to be human beings with one another.
Listen, Dr. Drew, if we couldn't laugh and find levity somewhere, then we should all be in the fetal position under our covers and just never get out.
That's where yes, absolutely. Okay, now let's get the panel back. They're back. Joining us by phone to the panel, there's everybody. Michael Ritrovano, whom you just saw there in that little piece of tape. He's the former friend and co-worker of Aaron Alexis. So, Michael, we're wondering if you observed any weird behavior. And I'm hearing something for the first time that the restaurant where everyone knew him, he actually wasn't an employee. He was a volunteer. Is that correct?
No, sir. That's incorrect. He was an employee, but he was really more of what they did is they put this man under their wing. He was a friend. He didn't give us any reason to believe that he would be, he would have someone that was very rageful or anything. But he
what do you mean? Hang on. What do you mean you put him? He became an employee? But I don't understand what you mean by put him under their wing. Was he an employee or was he not an employee?
Yes, he was employed by them. He was a delivery person here, and so yes, if you're asking me, was he an employee of the Happy Bowl? Yes, he was, but he was also more than that. He was more like a family member, is what I'm trying to say.
Got it. Got it.
Sure.
And I wonder if my panel has any questions for Michael. Michael was concerned, obviously, about the video games. I'm sure that doesn't help problems. Trust me, I understand that.
Come on.
But what we're seeing is someone with intermittent thought problems. Go ahead, Jenny. You have a question for Mike? Okay,
No,
Wendy, you
I
do.
just
Wendy,
at the
go
video.
ahead.
Go to Wendy.
Wendy.
I want to know what kind of stress he was under. I had seen reports saying that he had financial problems. His car had broken down. He really didn't even have money for food sometimes. Is this possible if you work in a restaurant to have no food?
Michael?
Well, you know what? You can't work in a restaurant and eat with people that work here every day and not have food. That's just impossible. Their food is one of the best in the area. But, Miss Wendy, I will respond to that question. He was a very loved individual here, and he was very well taken care of. When I said under their wing, I meant they treated him like a son. Okay, I don't see. I don't understand the reason why he would go off like he did. But I can tell you that yeah, he complained about the same financial things that we all complain about. But you know, we all have you know, problems. But he's been well taken care of. I can tell you that. He was my buddy. I know that about him.
By the way, Michael, if no one has said this to you, I'm so sorry. I mean, this is such a tragic case. People want to, you know, he obviously, he deserves our sympathy too. He was sick, in my opinion, and this is a really sad tragedy.
We're mad. I can tell you that, sir. We're mad because a lot of people, a lot of innocent people, are affected by this. I was just watching the news and they said it was buckshot, and it's crazy when you think about that. That destroys not only a lot of people, but a lot of lives and a lot of families. And
it's crazy. You're
why
right.
Aaron would do that, I don't understand. He wasn't that way here. He was more of a brother. We joked about him being, I would say, you're my brother of another mother. And, you know, and so he was my friend. But yes.
But that's how we can know that this was not a personality problem. It was not some hidden agenda he had. It was he became ill and disconnected from reality. I wonder if, Judy, you agree with me on this, and do you have any questions for Michael?
I absolutely agree, Dr. Drew, and hi, Michael. I was just wondering, aside from the video games, did you see anything else that was concerning to you that clued you into the fact that he was getting sicker, or that he was becoming more disturbed, or that he was angry about something?
Yes, ma'am. Well, let me back up just a minute, because I'm hearing a lot about this whole sickness thing on the last couple of hours. Before that, there was no sickness being mentioned, other than that, you know, he might have had some medical issues starting out. But, you know, Aaron was never sick with me. He was always strong. He was always a leader. He wanted to he acted like he was kind of an arrogant New Yorker, and so am I, and in some ways. But he was more liberal, and me more conservative. But we met in the middle on those things. He was not a sick person. He was not a sick person.
If you yourself were suddenly to tell me that you were hearing voices, that microwaves were beaming thought into your body, that you believed that people were out to get you and sending thoughts into you that you couldn't control, that is a sign that you had become ill. Just like if you got a fever. Same thing.
Sure, it is.
It's a sign of mental illness.
The lady next door said that he, you know, just a week ago, she talked to him a week ago, and he sounded fine. So the voices thing, I don't know if this is all, you know, something that has just come up. I don't, you know, maybe it's true. Maybe Aaron said something like that. I don't know why.
It would explain things. I hope that that's what it is, because if it's not that, it's something far, far more sinister. Deneen certainly goes down that path. Yes, Deneen? Yes, you do.
Right.
Okay,
yes,
guys.
And you know what?
Michael,
And I also want to...
Deneen, finish.
Oh, sorry.
Deneen, go ahead.
I also want to say I'm very sensitive to mental health issues. I'm not saying that I'm not. I know I come across that way sometimes. But I also know that people are very calculated. And this to me is more of a workplace violence. What do the kids call it? FML. He was mad about his life and about the things that were surrounding him. This and Christopher Dorner, to me, are more workplace violence situations where they were mad at authority and they were lashing out.
I have to interrupt everybody. I'm really against the clock. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Michael. And again, condolences on this entire tragedy, however we come to understand it. Next up, we're switching gears, talking about baby Elena.